How's it going, everyone? Sinister the Gamer Sector bringing you another interview with the dev, and hope you enjoyed this interview I'm about to give here. So, well, with that being said, I'm gonna let our guest introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Corzidin, lead designer of Relentless Frontier, project manager, level design, textures, all that jazz. Uh, Good to be here today.
All right, cool. So, first things first, what got you into gaming?
Uh, Probably my parents. They've been gaming since before I was born. And then I probably started playing games right around when I was 3 or 4. I started playing Doom when I was 5.
Okay, cool.
Uh, yeah, that was some interesting memories there. And then
Oh,
all the way up till started playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which had its own park editor, and that kind of got me on the line for designing stuff. I got super obsessed with it.
okay. Yeah, like, do you have any favorite games other than Doom and Tony Hawk?
Yeah, last year, Cultix probably my game of the year. Resident Evil 4 pretty strong for me. I think one of the previous interviews I was in, I ended up just talking about Resident Evil 4 for like 75% of the time.
Oh, actually, that's what I played. That most of my time was the remake, like going through multiple playthroughs and things like that.
Yeah, on my third playthrough of Professional on the remake right now, trying to do that minimalist run.
Yeah, right now I'm on hardcore, trying to go for the chicken head before I go for professional.
Oh yeah.
I already got the Chicago sweep. I got that real quick, but it was a headache. But
Oh yeah. I really like the combat in that one, but falling into a pit trap again of like talking about Resident Evil 4. Is there? But before we do that, is there anything else you wanted to talk to me about?
I know. Well, yeah, we're probably going to discuss it probably during your creation. But I'll say, yeah. Tell us about your project.
All right, so Relentless Frontier is a retro FPS, mostly because it uses the Doom engine. Although I'll be honest, I don't know how strictly I'm sticking to retro FPS tenets. I'm kind of more so trying to make more of a first-person shooter that I'd like to play, something relatively fast-paced with exploration in it, a little bit of Metrovania mechanics. So I didn't really see too many games out there that kind of followed what I wanted exactly. So it's part of why I'm making Relentless Frontier.
All right, cool. Hey, how you doing, Doctor Destructo? You saying it took for a
Oh,
minute for
yeah, it took 1 minute for
RE4 to love it.
that's our that's our programmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, Doctor Destructo? I'm not sure if you want me to say your real name.
You're right. Yeah, that's like I said, it's cool you dropping through. Yeah, there's like any like your influence from Resident Evil 4 like influence your project.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of the discussion about how we pace our project has been about that. Our artist is also super into Resident Evil 4. Probably safe to say it's his favorite game, but not necessarily the like we're obviously not a third person shooter; it's a first person shooter.
Right.
But the pacing of Resident Evil 4 is, in my opinion, really strong. Typically, every time you're going into a new area, there's something kind of new happening. It's not just this is the hangar level, you go through that, and this is the starbase level.
Right.
It's more so like, oh, there's a boss, oh, there's a new mechanic. You got to use this mechanic to get through this area, and oh shit, enemy ambush, and the level names and the level numbers are more so incidental, just to kind of break the game up a bit.
Okay. Yeah, how you doing, Metal Invader? You saying hey?
Oh yeah, that's you interviewed him a while back. That's the lead developer for Metal for Hellslinger.
Oh yeah, man, awesome. Yeah, it's been a long while. Yeah, because yeah, it's like feel free to like drop any more things about Resident Evil 4 because I know it's gonna be more about in your project.
Yeah. So basically, I think every boss fight in Resident Evil 4, we've kind of taken notes on them just to see, like, okay, what did they do right? Some of them were kind of wrong. Like, but I feel like both the Salazar fights, remake and original, were kind of lackluster. It's
Right.
because it just kind of plops you down in an arena that you're you're not going to use most of it. And it's just waiting for a window to attack. That's it.
Oh, but good old Ramon. I was so happy to throw a grenade in his mouth just to shut him up.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just to finish him off.
Yeah, hold on to them golden eggs to kind of cheese them. Just throw some eggs at him.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, it was also cool, like throwing that egg at his porch before sitting down on his throne for a little bit.
Yeah, that's where they moved the throne sitting. No more lasers, sadly, but
yeah, I got all those chickens around just laying eggs and everything. It's like it was funny. Had a little message like you sit there. It's like, hey, there's no time to sit on your throne.
There's plenty of time to sit around.
I mean, pretty much. But like out of the boss fights, like what was like your favorite boss fight?
Oh shit! I really like the Krauser fight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like it's around when I learned a lot of the knife mechanics, kind of by force. Like you hit you hit his melee weapon, or you hit his knife with your knife, and at the right time, and it counts as a parry. You don't have to actually like press the button prompt to parry, which means you can get just crazy amounts of damage in on him if you time it right, or you kind of watching what he's doing. And that kind of reactive thing is kind of one of my favorite types of boss fights.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite. Basically, my second favorite was the LVGGAMING fight, the first time, like fighting by himself.
Oh yeah, I gotta tell you, the second time you go through that, you got like a maxed out rifle. You just and he saved the dog Huey. And
yep.
You just takes like one down for him. And you just keep shooting him in the back of the rifle.
Yeah, it's a good thing I saved the dog because he definitely came in handy. But the way he was just started coming at me, I was like, "Oh man!" It's like,
oh yeah. And they played the cheesiness factor way up. There's a lightning strike when he howls.
Right.
It's great, but
yeah. Then of course, then he had like his metal brother coming through, like coming at the same time with Luis.
Oh yeah. You get the. You ever kill the metal one without Luis helping you with the dynamite?
No, the first time we both took him down without dropping him in the lava and stuff like that. But yeah.
My second playthrough, I had the hand cannon, like the infinite ammo upgrade on it. So you just blast him over and over. And Luis is like, "Hey, why'd you start the party without me?" Just shows up with the dynamite for no reason.
I know, because like, but speaking of Krauser, like when the mercenaries drop, like the moment I unlocked Krauser, man, I just went ham with him. I mean, I basically took out like on the island level. I basically took out everybody before time ran out.
Nice, yeah. I was pretty happy. I think Luis is my favorite character in the mercenaries. Pipe is strong. Just laying down dynamite and shooting it right at your feet because it doesn't hurt you if you shoot it.
Yeah, that's also cool. It's just great for crowd control.
Yeah, and I think mercenaries is on standard or something. I noticed enemies go down way quicker.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a mod for if you got the PC version. There's a mod that lets you choose the difficulty for hardcore or professional. I started messing around with that.
Yeah, I did it with it. It's like out of all the specials, of course, I would rank with Hunk and not Hunk, but Krauser number one, then Hunk, then Leon, then Luis in that order.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So Hunk's a beast. Like just. Pretty strong MP5 piercing, infinite ammo thing, but like just the neck breaking on them, where you kind of just go one by one. Like bosses don't mean anything anymore. Right. You just pop them in the head a few times, stun them.
Exactly. Like, but with Krauser, man, he has like the best melee on. Like, he's just strong with that knife. Like most of the time, I just knifing enemies, just kept building up my multiplier, and just up until my special came out, just boom. Like I said, just went ham with everybody.
Yeah, I need to mess around with the knife a bit more. I think after the minimalist playthrough, I was going to try almost kind of like a medieval one where you just have the bolt gun and knives.
Yeah.
See how far I can get on that.
Right. But anyways, onto your project. Yeah, like when did the idea come about? Like you, like a couple of friends come up with the idea, or you just?
Yeah, a few years back, me and two of my friends, Dr. Structum in the chat, and Horatio's Svetlana, just in case he doesn't want me to use his actual name. Right. We're kind of just like we've known each other in real life for a long time. We've hang out at each other's houses a bunch, and we're like, we can try to get together to actually try to make a game, try to start essentially making a portfolio, because initial plan was make a game and then try to get into the industry. So we kind of talked a bunch about that, went through a whole bunch of different game ideas, different complexities, and we ended up landing on a GZ Doom engine game, Relentless Frontier, because two of us are me and the programmer were both very familiar with GZ Doom.
Okay.
So we were able to. Oops, sorry about that.
All right.
There's an alarm going off. So we were able to get into it, start prototyping things really quick. And despite there's a lot of restrictions for GZ Doom,
Okay.
we're kind of able to work around those to still get a pretty, in my opinion, pretty well playing game.
Oh, that's cool. Like anybody just had like assigned roles, like say like you were strong in this area, and I guess whoever was with you helped. They were strong in their areas, just to blend all your ideas, your talents together.
So our programmer Steven is really good at research. Whatever. Our programmer Dr. Destructo is really good at researching things. Essentially, anytime we need to figure something out, he'd be the one to look into it and try to either find the proper way to do it or just hack something together that works well enough. Our code is just filled with really weird comments and kind of hackery. And in one instance, an IHOP order commented out. And then our artist, Ratio, he was in the process of training, almost more so as like a kind of like a traditional animator.
Okay.
And then applying that to sprite art has been real interesting to see, because I feel like artistically that's kind of one of the best things we got going for us for Relentless Frontier. Is all of our enemies have super high count animation frames that are animated kind of in the style of a Metal Slug, which is a style he was studying too.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of other games that are kind of doing the retro FPS thing with sprites right now, I think they're using 3D model references and kind of posing them and then using that as a base for sprites, kind of crunching them up and rasterizing them to make them look old school. Whereas our artist, the madman he is just drawing hundreds and hundreds of frames, almost like he's in an animation studio sort of setting. As Dr. Destructo says, our basic enemy has 600 frames.
Because he's insane.
Yeah, because he's insane. So shout outs to him.
Yeah, Metal Invader, Dr. Destructor, yeah.
Oh yeah, Metal Invader. Side note on Metal Invader, I'm actually working on Hellslinger a bit too on the side. I'm doing sound design and probably some map design in the future.
Okay. Cool.
A Metal Invader will just kind of be like, what if we had this enemy or we need this enemy, and then a day later just have the frames for it. It's like, all right, ready to implement. It's like, wow, that's quick.
That's awesome. Yeah, because like when you mentioned Metal Slug, because I played that a few nights ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love the series. I was playing that in Dolphin Blue.
Oh yeah, I'm not familiar with Dolphin Blue. Is that similar?
I mean, it's in that style, but it's like a less violent version of it. But of course, the game is only out in Japan, but somehow, like through emulation and other means, you can play it here in the States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on a system called Atomic Web, which is basically by Sega. The name is Sammy Atomic Web, but it's basically done by Sega.
Okay, I can kind of see the influences there.
Right.
It's a side scroller with, yeah.
Okay. Other than that, what did you use to develop the game with?
We are using more recently GitHub for version control and kind of syncing it up between us. We're using Photoshop for textures, Substance Designer for a lot of the textures. Our artist uses Asprite for the sprites. I use Notepad++ for any of the programming I do, like a Scrub. Our programmer uses, I think, Microsoft something sweet. I actually forget the name of it. Sorry. If you want to comment in the chat, I'll mention
Yeah, if
it.
anybody in chat know what it is, hey, just drop it down below.
Just a Visual Studio. Yeah, okay. So he actually set up Visual Studio.
Okay.
I believe he also uses Photoshop from time to time. And then for the models I use Blender. That's just great software. And then the big one for me is Ultimate Doom Builder, which is a Doom level designer. Works just kind of a miracle, kind of a miracle program, honestly, with like how many conveniences they are on it.
Right.
Going into Relentless Frontier, I knew very little about it, and then started kind of experimenting about it, and then with the help of some people from the community, from the Doom community, started learning about like all these fancy functions on it that'll make something that normally would take me like an hour take 30 seconds.
Wow.
And that's made productivity go way up. Detailing super easy now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably do more in a bit when we get to the gameplay. But before that, what's the story going to be? What's the story about without probably not giving too much away?
You are Noah Gansky. So it's set in the future, kind of like a semi-post-apocalyptic future where basically the apocalypse happened, humanity reunited under the Solar Dominion, and then started spreading out super fast. And this game is about first alien contact with an alien race that is essentially a bunch of telepathic slugs that work in a hive mind sense.
Okay.
You are Noah Gansky, a combat engineer, previously just a scientist inventor who one of your inventions accidentally killed a governor, so you were sent to a penal legion to basically do suicide missions for the rest of your life. 10 years later, roughly, you're still doing these suicide missions that have failed to kill you. Noah has become rather gruff. He doesn't really get attached to people anymore. All of his friends have died at this point. He's mostly forgotten his old life, and he's not too enthusiastic about being a prison legionnaire.
You're right.
You're sent to a frontier world, Ross 128b, which is a part of a real star system. Just ended up using that for the setting.
Right.
But it's kind of a frontier planet, and it's Relentless Frontier. Freshly terraformed that needed help with some cultists. However, you show up, and the cultists aren't the problem. It's this alien race, the Armillamax. And that is you're just trying to survive, get in contact with whoever you can, and end up just trying to get off the planet more so than actually save it.
Okay, cool. As for like presentations, like is there going to be cutscenes or voice acting in it just to drive the story along?
There's going to be some voice acting. Noah's not too vocal, but he is going to be talking every once in a while. As far as cutscenes go, we're likely going to have maybe for each episode like some intro slides. Nothing too fancy though.
Right.
Game is going to be mostly almost kind of like how Half-Life did it, where there's not you don't stop and then the camera changes to what you're looking at or anything like that. It's mostly an uninterrupted first-person view of you are Noah trying to survive.
Yeah, because I mean, for what you were explaining, I kind of got that vibe from Half-Life, like Noah being a scientist. I thought Gordon Freeman.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think sort of unintentionally, but our main enemy, the slug, kind of ended up looking like head crabs.
Okay.
Oops, but it wasn't intentional, I promise.
All right. Oh yeah, because I mean, speaking of Doom for a little bit, was that Half-Life and any other games where like kind of like the influence like for the enemy designs or I should say the character designs in the environments overall?
It's funny. Despite this being using the Doom engine, it's not very similar to any of the original Doom games. It's all of the enemies use projectile based attacks, and it's kind of a lot more movement focused, I would say. Funnily enough, a lot of our mechanical decisions came from me and the artist kind of
Okay.
discussing things, kind of presenting points against each other, and then seeing what kind of works the best. Because so me and him, sometimes we don't we're not in whole agreement over like most things,
Okay.
but in my opinion, that's great because that means that there's no idea that goes unchallenged. Usually, an idea is presented, and we try to discuss it. And if
Right.
we can come to a conclusion that both of us like, then figure, oh, okay, it's probably a pretty strong decision then.
All right.
So, as far as any game where we're like directly trying to, the closest one would be Resident Evil 4, mechanically wise,
Okay.
like run around first person shooter.
Right.
It's obviously not the same like gameplay loop.
All right. All right. Yeah. Now we're just gonna move on to the other part. That is the gameplay of it. Since I know, because I sugar, since we talked about Resident Evil much, say like in the demos, are any other mechanics from Resident Evil in there that they gave you some ideas or that you looked over?
Let's see. Artist is probably going to kill me for missing some of them. Uh, yeah, I think it was primarily the pacing is
Okay.
like the biggest inspiration from Resident Evil 4. It's
Right.
it's it's again a lot about each level isn't just arbitrary or arbitrarily a level. It's more so about, okay, we did this. What's the next thing we can do to
Uh-huh.
kind of present something new to the player, and then they get to play around with that. And then after that, we kind of hit them with another sort of surprise
Right.
or something else to do, so that no part gets too stale.
Right. Yeah. What can Noah do? Because other than him walking around, I'm sure he has like
Uh,
any other weapons.
he Noah is inhumanely agile. Starting off, you run pretty fast. You can crouch and you can do a crouch slide. Which, if
Mhm.
you're running forward, you do crouch slide. Which crouch on the ground, slide, kind of like a kick slide, and then you actually move faster from that. Then, if you jump after that, you'll get a boosted jump, so you can jump further and higher. Following up with that is double jump boots, so you get the ability to double jump.
Okay.
There's dash, which you can do in midair or on the ground, so you get extra mobility. Yeah, kind of. That's at a certain point you're almost flying with how much midair mobility you have.
Okay.
In the future, we have special melee attacks planned based on doing these. So, say if you dash forward and you melee, you do kind of like a thrust attack forward, which will kind of like pierce through enemies. And then there's a jump slam where right after a double jump, you do a melee attack. You'll slam into the ground and knock enemies up around you and set them up for. It'll kind of stun them. You can follow up with another power attack and break their armor. Or
Well, that's cool.
yeah, and then as far as the guns go, there's there's the Enforcer, which is a Magnum. It's I think originally I had it set to 50 BMG, but that's kind of ridiculous. Probably just
Right.
going to be a 50 cal handgun round. It kills most of the small enemies in one shot. It's accurate. It's kind of your precision weapon, and it's the starter weapon. There's the Peacekeeper shotgun, which is an automatic shotgun that decent fire rate, decent workhorse. One of its big features is crowd control.
Okay.
Uh, there's a larger enemy called the Guardian that will charge you, and it's heavily armored. If you shoot it with a shotgun as it's charging you up close, you'll break its armor in one hit and send it flying. And at that point, you can finish it off with any other weapon.
Finish him.
Yeah. And then there's the Justice, which is a ridiculously fast firing machine gun. It's kind of the raw damage per second weapon. That
Yeah.
it doesn't do much to armor, so you kind of got to soften the enemies up first. So there's a lot of weapon swapping encouraged because each weapon's supposed to be particularly good at one thing.
Oh,
And
that's
then
cool.
and then each of these weapons also have a secondary function that also has environment interactivity. So what was shown in the demo was there's a charge shot for the Enforcer, the Magnum, that kind of acts as like a big AOE like explosion
Okay.
that will melt through the bugs' nests. and that lets you progress. And then you can also go back previous levels to areas that were locked off with this goop, blast through it, and then you can get side content and secrets. So that's where the Metroidvania aspects come in.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. And we got some, good plans with the shotgun and the Justice too, but I'll let you.
Okay. Yeah, about the demo, like, how long did it take you to put it together?
So we had a demo out in like 2021 that was really rough. It was almost more of like a tech demo kind of thing where, wow, we got 2 levels together and it's technically playable. Let's show the world. We realized that was kind of a mistake because it had like 3 different types of enemies and not a whole lot of mechanics to the enemies. So that was a lot of people's first impressions. If I could make a suggestion to any other like newbie game developers out there, it's better to wait till you have something that matches your vision a lot closer. But more recently, at the end of last year, 2022, we released a 4-level demo that includes a boss fight in it, which is way closer to what we actually want to show off. So we started dev, I think, in like 2020, maybe 2019, actually. I'll have to check. But so that's about how long we've been developing for, is 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Well, that's cool. What platform did you release this on?
This is a PC, and then we're looking to do Steam Deck compatibility as well.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, a lot of the interviews I've done, like, a lot of people, that sing praises about Steam, like the way they got with the program and, pitching their ideas and things like that.
Yeah. And yeah, it's Steam's a really good platform for distribution. It is I'll say interesting one to actually upload to and manage. They are very, very strict on the assets you upload and how you set up depots for when you're uploading the game and which one of those are being used. But support's been good so far, so kudos to that.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime in the future, do you ever plan on releasing on console, or are you just going to be just PC only?
So that's one of the issues about the engine we're using. It's under something called an OpenGPL license, where I don't believe we are allowed to release it for console. It's pretty strictly a PC, because we're working on a modified Doom engine, and a long time ago, id Software released the engine kind of open source under a OpenGPL license that let people make source ports off of it. So unfortunately, probably not going to get any console versions of Relentless Frontier unless we were to at some point switch to Unity or Unreal, which would be a heck of an undertaking. It's more likely our next game is going to be in Unity or Unreal.
Okay, yeah, because the past interview, the last one I've done was the person I interviewed. He used Unreal Engine 5. I was like, I mean, it's been a few. It's like, I guess some can handle it and some can't, but usually, like some developers, they can use like, hey, whatever that's good for them and good for the project.
Yeah, I think our programmer actually has some experience with Unreal. I dabbled with it a bit. I made back in college, I made a map for Unreal Tournament 2001 or 2003, one of those two, I can't remember. And then kind of dabbled with Unreal 4 a bit before we were working on Relentless Frontier, as well as Unity. We tried to make a kind of 2D platformer as a test, but ended up going with this engine because as our first game, there's a lot of stuff that we weren't too good at, like project management or version control or all that stuff. So having the engine be something we're very familiar with is a good way to kind of cancel out what can go wrong.
Right. But speaking of that, like, usually do you keep like updates on it, like, how's the progress going up until like the full version, comes out whenever that may be?
So recently, unfortunately not too well. we've been working on a whole bunch of things that have been super work in progress and not presentable for the past few months.
Okay.
And just now, a lot of those are kind of coming to a presentable state, which means the next few weeks we're going to be showing off every week on Saturdays new progress that actually looks good and isn't just like some kind of like really roughly drawn thing in a placeholder room with placeholder textures. But so yeah, planning on doing it at least every week from this point on.
Okay. All right. Usually I come up with this thing. It's called a scenario. Like, say, like your game is fully complete, everything. Like, say it's super successful like on PC, like special on Steam and Steam Deck. Like,
what if?
yeah, it's one of the what ifs. Yeah, like I said, like it's like successful. Like, do you ever plan on releasing like expansions? Probably like to keep it going. Probably present something new, fresh, or probably move on to a new project or probably a sequel.
So that's if we're really successful and we actually get enough money to actually start hiring people, we're going to be starting a new project. However, I personally would like to, like on the side, I would like to continue releasing some extra map packs for Relentless Frontier even after we finish the game, and I'm looking to make sure that when it releases, people can make their own maps for it using Ultimate Doom Builder. So we'll be releasing all the assets needed for people to make their own stuff with it.
Oh, it's cool. Because like I said, like a friend of mine, we was talking about the Steam Deck, and like I say, sometime next year, plan on getting one. Like, hey, it was like, even though if I do get one next year, then probably after that, whenever your game drops, I'll definitely probably play it on the Steam Deck. It's like I probably tell them it's like, hey, this game right here, I interview the person that made helped make the game.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Cool, yeah, and that's part of why we're. I think the Steam Deck is closest we're going to get to kind of a console release or to a less PC enthusiast crowd. As I believe, it's more likely that someone's probably going to own a Steam Deck, especially in the future. I think they're still selling pretty good and they're still pretty popular. And fortunately, porting it to the Steam Deck has been pretty easy so far. Valve's done a pretty good job at I think it's Proton is what they use on the Steam Deck, and a lot of our game just kind of worked off the bat on it. We just need to make sure that like a lot of the controls are ported over and everything looks right.
Yeah, it's cool because like I mean, a few friends of mine, they've been using it as their emulation station, and along with the Steam games, which is really cool. And the best thing I like about it is like they got like those connectors you can hook it up to your TV.
Oh yeah, yeah. The dock. Yeah.
Yeah, dock. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually we have one that the programmer has right now, mostly for testing purposes. Well, also, cool. Probably for playing purposes. I imagine he's kind of just messing around with it on the side. And that's fine. But
wow. Yeah. That's cool and all, but yeah, basically that's all the questions I have since you already answered the majority of it because we know where the inspiration came from and like a lot of like Doom and Resident Evil and other things like that. Yeah, but other than that, before we head out, like you want to tell everyone out there where they can find you and contact you at.
Oh yeah, you can. So you can find Relentless Frontier on Steam under the name Relentless Frontier. We got a free demo up right now. It's the first 4 levels, the first half of the first episode. And once the first episode's out, we're gonna release an early access. Price is likely to be about $15.
Okay.
We also got our Twitter page, which is where I do most of the actual social media. That's let me see. Give me a sec to double check. At Corzadin, my name in the thing right there.
Right.
And then it should be obvious which one it is. It has big RF as the portrait in it. Relentless Frontiers plastered all over it. And then we have a Discord server, which will be linked in the Twitter if you're interested.
All right. Cool. And other than that, yeah, before I give out my outro, it's like I say, shout out to Dr. Destructual, a Metal Invader. Thank y'all for coming through. And then, of course, yeah. And of course, you know, there's a Sinister or the Gamer section. Hope y'all enjoy your day. And like I said, you know, like I said, check out Corazon on Twitter. And then, like, anybody out, like, on Steam out there, definitely check out the demos. See, you know, how you like it. And, you know, show some love to these guys.
Right on.
All right. Other than that, y'all take it easy.
Peace.
Peace.